As a child, Yuri Katsuki once saw Viktor Nikiforov on the ice. From that moment, Viktor became his idol. The legendary figure skater Viktor Nikiforov wins the Grand Prix final once again. Meanwhile, Yuri Katsuki competes in the tournament for the first time and finishes in last place. Devastated by the loss, he locks himself in a stall in the men's restroom, calls his mother, and tearfully tells her about his failure. Waiting outside is junior skater Yuri Plisetsky. Next season, he's moving to the senior league and declares that there can't be two Yuris on the same stage. One of them must disappear. Already at the airport, Viktor Nikiforov himself passes by and unexpectedly offers to take a photo with Yuri as a memory. But Yuri turns away and walks off. He imagined meeting his idol completely differently, as an equal, not a loser. Yuri returns to his hometown. At the airport, his former teacher Minako greets him. People begin to recognize him as a skater, and Yuri feels uncomfortable. After the Grand Prix failure came a string of defeats. He lost the national championship and didn't qualify for the Four Continents Championship. The season is over. Having finished college, Yuri decides to come back home. On TV, Viktor Nikiforov is once again shown taking first place at the World Championship. Yuri's mother welcomes him after their long separation. Coach Minako immediately scolds him. He's gained a lot of weight, and a figure skater shouldn't look like that. Yuri was born and raised in Kyushu, a coastal fortress city. His family runs traditional hot springs, their main source of income. Now Yuri faces a choice: return to professional figure skating or stay home to help his family. He heads to the local ice rink to practice a little. The rink is already closed, but the girl working there recognizes him. It's his old friend and former skating partner, Yuko Nishigori. She lets him in. Since childhood, they had both been fans of Viktor Nikiforov. Yuri performs Viktor's routine in front of Yuko, flawlessly, without a single mistake. He had been training hard since the tournament. Every spin, jump, and move, just like his idol. Yuko is amazed. Yuri still hopes to skate on the same stage as Viktor and return to the sport. Later that evening, he notices that a video of his performance has appeared online. It has gone viral. It turns out Yuko recorded him on her phone, and her younger sisters uploaded the video without asking. Everyone saw it, including Viktor Nikiforov. Shocked by what he saw, Viktor comes to Yuri in person to become his coach. He promises, together, they will definitely win the Grand Prix final. Viktor Nikiforov says goodbye to his coach. He's flying to Japan. The coach is shocked. Viktor is suddenly dropping everything to go train Yuri Katsuki for the Grand Prix. No one is more surprised than Yuri himself, and the entire town of Kyushu where he lives. While Viktor sleeps soundly in a traditional Japanese house, Yuri still can't believe his idol is now living under the same roof. The news also shocks Yuri Plisetsky. After all, Viktor had once promised to help him with training. Viktor gives Yuri Katsuki his first condition. To start serious practice, he must lose weight. While Viktor settles into his new surroundings, his luggage arrives. He's eager to learn everything about Yuri, how he lives, where he trains, and whether he has a girlfriend. Viktor wants to build trust before starting real coaching, but Yuri is embarrassed and keeps running away whenever Viktor comes near. That night, Viktor doesn't want to sleep alone and knocks on Yuri's door. Yuri's heart nearly leaps out of his chest. Could his lifelong dream be coming true? He can't understand how he could have possibly inspired such a legendary skater. But Viktor keeps asking questions, making Yuri even more flustered. Meanwhile, Yuri Plisetsky finds a photo online. Viktor standing near a castle in Kyushu. Now he knows where to find him. Yuri Katsuki trains intensely, trying not to waste a single minute. Yuri Plisetsky secretly arrives in Kyushu without telling his coach, but he carelessly posts a selfie and exposes his location. Long ago, Viktor had promised, if Plisetsky won the junior championship, he would personally choreograph his program. That's why Yuri P came to Japan. Yuri Katsuki finally sheds the extra weight, but suddenly someone shoves him hard. It's Yuri Plisetsky. He blames Yuri for everything that's happening. He says Viktor always lived to surprise the audience, but lately, nothing he does amazes anyone anymore, and it's crushing him. Viktor is surprised to see Plisetsky. In truth, he'd forgotten about the promise. Now he swears both Yuris will get a program and he'll present them in a week. Victor proposes a competition. Whoever surprises the audience more will get any wish granted. It will be a real show. Yuri Katsuki begins to doubt himself. That evening, he disappears without telling anyone. When Victor finds out, he sets off to look for him. First, he goes to Yuri's former ballet teacher Minako, but Yuri isn't there. Minako guesses that Yuri probably went to the ice rink. That's where he goes when he's troubled. Sure enough, Victor finds him there. He learns that Yuri has always preferred to train alone. That evening, Victor learns more about him than ever before. The next morning, Victor introduces the music pieces they'll perform to. The first is soft and romantic, just like Yuri Katsuki. The second is fiery and intense, in the spirit of the passionate Yuri Plisetsky. But Victor unexpectedly switches the music, giving the soft one to Plisetsky and the fiery one to Katsuki. Both are shocked. Victor explains the audience needs to be surprised, and he warns them if in 1 week they don't meet his expectations, he won't choreograph either program. Yuri Plisetsky sets his own condition. If he wins, Victor must go back home and train only him. Victor turns to Yuri Katsuki and asks what he wants. Blushing, Yuri says if he wins, he just wants to eat pork cutlets with Victor. In a week, the show Hot Springs on Ice will take place, where Yuri Katsuki and Yuri Plisetsky will face off. The rules are simple. If Plisetsky wins, Victor goes home with him and becomes his coach. If Katsuki wins, Victor stays in Japan and continues working with him. That's why Katsuki is determined to give it everything he's got. Victor presents the skaters with 2 programs. The first, Agape, a program about pure, unconditional love, is assigned to Plisetsky. The choreography is elegant, delicate, and technically challenging. The second, Eros, full of passion and seduction, is meant for Katsuki. He's overwhelmed. How is a shy and modest guy supposed to portray a passionate lover? He doesn't believe he can express such sensuality. But Victor assures him that he will help him believe in himself and open up on the ice. Plisetsky, in turn, also struggles. It's difficult for him to grasp the essence of agape, a spiritual, selfless love. He's used to showing strength, ambition, and aggression, not tenderness and sincerity. Katsuki wrestles with the question, what does passion mean to me? Searching for an answer, he recalls his favorite pork cutlets. As strange as it may sound, that memory helps him channel emotion on the ice. He becomes more confident, graceful, and expressive. Plisetsky can't find inspiration for a long time, until he remembers his grandfather, the only person he truly loved. That feeling fills his performance with warmth and soul. To make everything perfect, Victor brings his old costumes, the ones he wore on stage, so the boys can perform in the attire of their idol. For both of them, it's not just a competition, but a chance to skate in the costume of their hero. On the eve of the show, Katsuki visits his dance teacher Minako, asking her to teach him how to move more femininely. He understands that he must tap into a new side of himself to truly embody the essence of Eros. The day of the show arrives. Plisetsky takes the ice first. His performance is mesmerizing. The cold, defiant teenager is gone. He flawlessly lands a triple toe loop and a difficult quadruple salchow. Then comes Katsuki's turn. A passionate, captivating skater appears before the audience. He executes all jumps and spins perfectly, stunning everyone with his transformation. After his performance, Yuri Plisetsky quietly leaves, not waiting for the results. He already knows what the decision will be. Victor Nikiforov stayed in Japan and continued coaching Yuri Katsuki. One day he confessed that he had decided to become his coach because Yuri had captivated him with his music. He skated as if his body itself was creating the melody. Victor suggests that Yuri choose the music for his free program himself, but Yuri is used to the coach making all the decisions. A few days later, his former coach calls. Victor answers the phone and directly asks why Yuri was never given a choice. The coach replies that Yuri was simply never confident enough in himself. Yuri then declares that he will prove himself at the Grand Prix. The former coach is pleasantly surprised and wishes him luck. Meanwhile, everyone notices that Plisetsky has changed a lot after his trip to Japan. Yuko from Japan is corresponding with him, sincerely asking how he's doing and whether he's already chosen music for his free program. But Plisetsky doubts their friendship. He thinks she's just trying to gather information about his training for a rival. The coach decides that from now on, Plisetsky will work with Lilia Baranovskaya, a former prima ballerina of the Bolshoi Theater. She will choreograph a new free program for him. He and the coach move in with her. Victor again insists that Yuri find his own music. But he's struggling. He lets Victor listen to a piece written for him by a friend from Detroit, specifically for the Grand Prix. She tried to capture Yuri's essence as a figure skater in the melody, but his former coach hadn't approved it at the time. Victor doesn't like it either. Yuri contacts his friend in Detroit to help find that composer girl. He promises to track her down. Victor wants to spend more time with Yuri, but lately, Yuri has been avoiding him. Guilt is weighing on him. They sit together by the ocean. Yuri admits he's never had any experience with girls. He recalls how once, when a friend hugged him to show support, he pushed her away, afraid of seeming weak. Only now does he realize that neither his friends nor his family ever thought of him as weak. Victor asks who he should be for Yuri, a father, a brother, or a friend. But Yuri replies that Victor should just stay himself. Yuri always looked up to him, but sometimes kept his distance because he didn't want Victor to see his flaws. Victor says there will be no special treatment. This is his way of loving. Yuri manages to get in touch with the girl who composed the music, and she promises to rework it. Meanwhile, he asks Victor to teach him all of his jumps. When the new track arrives, Victor is thrilled. The Grand Prix lineup is announced. Yuri's friends congratulate him, but due to his poor performance last season, he'll have to go through all the qualifying rounds again. The first one is the Chushikoku and Kyushu Championship. At the Chushikoku and Kyushu Championship, the draw determines that Yuri Katsuki will perform first. Together with Victor, he gives an interview to journalists. Victor confidently states that this season, his student will surpass himself. However, Yuri still struggles with self-doubt, but he knows that if he wants to make it to the Grand Prix final, he must not give in to anxiety. Trying to encourage him, Victor pulls Yuri into a tight hug. In that moment, he seems to convey a silent message. Don't focus on fear. Think about captivating the audience and conquering the ice. Cameras capture the gesture, and it immediately becomes a topic of discussion. Yuri takes the ice with his short program. He tries to pour all his passion and emotion into the performance. But in Victor's eyes, the intensity doesn't hold through to the end. The second half lacks the same emotional depth. Nevertheless, the judges score him highly. Yuri improves his personal record by nearly 10 points and takes a confident lead. The next day is the free skate. Victor expresses disappointment. He feels Yuri lacks inner motivation, and without it, one cannot inspire others. These words strike a nerve. Yuri recalls Manami, a young skater who for years tried to follow in his footsteps. Now, Manami is nervous before his performance. Seeing this, Yuri decides to support him, reminding himself how important it is to set an example. Encouraged by Yuri's support, Manami steps onto the ice with confidence and wins over the crowd with his vibrant performance. When it's Yuri's turn, he feels he can no longer hold back. He takes a risk, ignoring the safer strategy. His performance becomes a revelation, passionate, mature, and alive. Victor can't take his eyes off him. For the first time, he sees his student so determined and free. The result is a well-deserved first place. Later, Yuri Plisetsky stumbles upon a photo of Victor hugging Katsuki. Overwhelmed with emotion, he smashes his phone in a fit of anger. Viktor Nikiforov and Yuri Katsuki are flying to Beijing for the Cup of China. For Yuri, this is his second attempt to qualify for the Grand Prix final. The theme of his new program is love. Victor's former coach, Yakov, is still angry at him and refuses to speak with him. He feels hurt that Victor left the sport and decided to become a coach instead. Victor and Yuri have dinner at a restaurant. They're joined by Yuri's old friends who haven't seen him in a long time. The atmosphere is warm and relaxed. Victor has a bit too much to drink. One of the guys posts a photo online of a drunk Victor hugging Yuri. The image quickly spreads across the internet. The competition begins. This year, Yuri faces very strong opponents. The first to perform is a skater from Thailand. His program is vibrant and colorful. He falls only once, quickly gets up, and finishes his routine with flair and confidence. The Thai skater earns a personal best score, significantly surpassing his previous record. Next is a skater from China. As Yuri watches his rivals, he becomes increasingly anxious. He fears that the audience, once in awe of Victor, might be disappointed with his own performance. Yuri steps onto the ice. Before that, he quietly asks Victor never to take his eyes off him. Meanwhile, Yuri Plisetsky is watching the championship on TV. Yuri Katsuki is no longer the man he was a year ago, and everyone sees it. Now, he is the only one who truly understands Victor, who knows his love, and who can inspire him. And he's ready to prove it on the ice, with flawless technique and perfect jumps. His performance is breathtaking. The audience gives him a standing ovation. Victor is overjoyed.
After Yuri, several other strong skaters perform. But by the end of the men's short program, Yuri Katsuki takes first place.
Yuri Katsuki continues competing at the Cup of China in the Grand Prix series. In the short program, he took first place among the men and set a personal record. Now the decisive free program lies ahead. The day before, Yuri had a poor night's sleep, so he looks tired and distracted. Before the warm-up, Victor forbids him from attempting jumps, fearing that a mistake could undermine his confidence before going on the ice. However, Yuri ignores the advice, tries a jump, and falls, becoming gloomy and dejected. The first to perform that day is a Chinese skater who placed 6th in the short program. He skates the first half flawlessly, increasing Yuri's anxiety. In the second half, he makes a mistake and falls, but that doesn't ease the tension. Next on the ice is a Thai athlete coached by Yuri's former mentor. His coach places high hopes on him, and they are fulfilled. The performance is impeccable, and his scores put him in the lead. After him comes Swiss skater Christoph Giacometti, who has admired Victor for many years. He decides to take a risk and execute 4 signature jumps in the first half of his program. He successfully pulls them off. Yuri is now on the verge of breaking down. Victor takes him aside to a quiet place, trying to shake him up and restore his fighting spirit. He says that if Yuri fails in his performance, he will quit coaching. But his words only heighten Yuri's anxiety. Yuri begins to fear that a possible failure will also affect Victor. He asks Victor to believe in him. As Yuri's turn approaches, his friends watching the broadcast notice his reddened eyes. Before going out, he touches Victor's hair. After letting his tears out, he feels more composed and confident. Even his former coach notes his unusual relaxation. Yuri lands the first 2 jumps flawlessly. Victor is thrilled. The subsequent attempts are no less perfect, and Victor can't take his eyes off him. Yuri unexpectedly decides to make his program more difficult, moving a series of the most complex elements to the final part. The audience and judges are astonished, as skaters are usually exhausted by this stage. Now Victor is the one on the verge of a nervous breakdown. After the program ends, Yuri's attention is fixed on Victor's reaction. Victor runs onto the ice and embraces him in front of everyone, saying this was also his way of surprising Yuri. At the Cup of China, Yuri wins a well-deserved silver medal, losing only to the Thai skater. At the airport, Yuri Plisetsky is greeted by his grandfather, to whom he is deeply attached. On the way home in the car, a radio broadcast announces that Viktor Nikiforov is returning to his homeland as a coach. Later, Plisetsky sees Victor in the hotel lobby, where he is giving an interview. Journalists ask whether Victor would like to meet Yuri Katsuki in the future, not as a coach, but as a rival. At that moment, Victor notices Plisetsky and hugs him, but Plisetsky coldly pushes him away. In the elevator, Plisetsky runs into Katsuki. Katsuki is friendly, but Plisetsky is determined to crush him at the Rostelecom Cup and bring Victor back to Russia. The short program in the men's singles begins. 6 top skaters are competing for the right to advance to the Grand Prix series. First to perform is an athlete from Korea. His technique is outstanding, but his artistry leaves much to be desired. In the first half of the program, he makes a mistake. Next on the ice is a Czech skater. His performance is slightly weaker, placing him only in second place. The Italian competitor is supported by his younger sister, to whom he is very close. She is also representing their country in the women's category this season. Next comes Yuri Katsuki's turn. Before going on the ice, he tries to reassure Victor, showing his confidence. In a foreign country without the familiar support of the audience, he sets out to impress the crowd with his skating. His performance is impressive. The audience gives loud applause, and his score puts him in the lead. Overcome with emotion, Victor kisses the blade of Katsuki's skate. Following him is Yuri Plisetsky. Victor and Katsuki wish him luck, but Plisetsky is discouraged by his grandfather's absence in the audience. His nerves show. In the first half of the program, he makes a mistake, but then he pulls himself together and finishes flawlessly. The final competitor is a skater from Canada, known for his high energy and his parallel career in a popular rock band. The final standings: the Canadian skater takes first place, Katsuki is in second, and Plisetsky finishes third. At this moment, Katsuki receives a call from Japan. Victor's dog has swallowed some buns and is having serious breathing problems. The animal's condition is critical. Katsuki urges Victor to return to Japan immediately, promising to handle the free skate on his own. Victor asks his former coach Yakov to take on the role of Katsuki's coach for the day. Victor's dog has fallen seriously ill. The pet is in critical condition, so he is forced to urgently fly to Japan, leaving Yuri ahead of his free program at the Rostelecom Cup. Before leaving, Victor asks his former coach Yakov to take on the role of Yuri's trainer for at least one day. The first to take the ice is the representative from the Czech Republic. Watching his performance closely is the sister of the Italian figure skater. Romantic feelings are beginning to grow between them. The second to perform is the Italian himself. For the first time, his sister does not escort him onto the ice. The day before, they had a serious argument. He had always protected her, not allowing other men near her, but now, having accepted the situation, he is ready to let her go. All the emotions he experienced the day before, he poured into his skating. Before stepping onto the ice, Yuri Plisetsky decides to make his program more difficult in order to surpass Katsuki. Today, he is supported by his beloved grandfather. Yuri not only executes all his jumps flawlessly, but also skates with remarkable expressiveness, confidently taking the lead. Katsuki, in turn, has set himself the goal of proving that Victor's decision to leave his career for coaching was not in vain. But nerves take their toll. He makes a mistake. Thoughts of Victor help him regain focus, and he finishes the rest of his program perfectly. Coach Yakov sternly scolds Yuri, but Yuri simply hugs him in response and thanks him for his help. The last to perform is the crowd favorite, a charismatic figure skater from Canada. His skating captivates the audience, and he takes first place. Katsuki drops to fourth. Nevertheless, based on the results of all the cup stages, Katsuki still qualifies for the Grand Prix final. He is determined to win gold so that he can continue working with Victor. After the performance, Yuri Plisetsky meets Katsuki on the street and offers him pies baked by his grandfather. The taste reminds Katsuki of Japan and his mother's cutlets. He is deeply grateful for such support. After all, he is completely alone here. Soon, Victor returns and asks what he can do to help. Yuri asks him to train him until the day he retires from the sport. Victor Nikiforov arrived in Barcelona, where the Grand Prix final is about to take place. He is relaxing by the pool when he unexpectedly meets a figure skater from Switzerland, Chris, an old acquaintance of his. They have stood together on the podium of the European and World Championships many times. This year, Chris is also competing in the final. Yuri Plisetsky is only 15 years old, but he has already achieved impressive results and gained his own fan club. A Thai figure skater, an old friend of Yuri Katsuki, won the Cup of China. They once trained together in Detroit, and now he has become the first athlete from Southeast Asia to reach the Grand Prix final. In recent days, Yuri Katsuki has been training hard and getting very tired. It's the most difficult for him. The time difference is taking its toll. Victor has made his program more difficult. With the old jumps, even if he executes them perfectly, it will be impossible to surpass the leader, a figure skater from Canada. Victor advises Yuri to get a good night's sleep, but Yuri unexpectedly asks him to show him the city. Victor gladly agrees, realizing that such an unusual request means Yuri is nervous. They stroll through the sights, visit restaurants and shops. Victor wants to buy Yuri a new suit. He didn't like the one his protege wore at the presentation. Meanwhile, Yuri Plisetsky is being mobbed by his fans. He is forced to run and hide. When there is nowhere left to run, a figure skater from Kazakhstan, Emil Nikola, pulls up on a motorcycle. He offers Yuri a ride. A photo of their swift escape instantly goes viral around the world. Yuri was sure he had nothing in common with Emil, but it turns out that 5 years ago, they trained together at Yakov's summer camp. Emil recalls his warlike gaze and says they are very much alike, offering his friendship. No one had ever offered to be Yuri's friend before. Meanwhile, Yuri, Katsuki, and Victor spend the whole day shopping. In the evening, tired but happy, they walk along streets decorated with Christmas lights. Victor's birthday is on Christmas Day, and Yuri asks what he would like as a gift. Passing a jewelry store, Yuri suggests they go inside and buys 2 rings, one for Victor and one for himself, for luck. After exchanging rings, Victor asks Yuri to perform in such a way that they can confidently say, "That was the best performance." Later, they sit in a cafe together with Yuri Plisetsky and several other figure skaters from different countries. Yuri Katsuki is happy. Last year, before the Grand Prix final, he was completely alone and didn't dare speak to anyone. Suddenly, someone notices matching rings on Victor's and Yuri's fingers. The group immediately assumes they are engaged. Yuri tries to deny it, but Victor, smiling, says that they are indeed wedding rings and that they will get married if Yuri wins the Grand Prix. In Barcelona, the final stage in the battle for the title of the world's best figure skater is about to begin. The matching rings of Viktor Nikiforov and Yuri Katsuki give Yuri confidence in victory. The short program begins. Yuri is the first to take the ice. The competition is incredibly strong, so he decides to make his program more difficult to increase his chances. He has been training tirelessly over the past few days, while Victor watches his student closely. A wave of goosebumps runs over Victor's skin from the tension. The moment for the quadruple flip arrives, a jump that Yuri hasn't always landed successfully, even in practice. He dares to attempt it, and executes it almost perfectly, brushing the ice lightly with his hand. Next comes a series of difficult spins. Yuri finishes his performance looking disappointed. He hasn't managed a flawless skate. Now, everything depends on his rivals' performances. Next on the ice is a skater from Thailand, the first in his country's history to reach the Grand Prix final. He once trained alongside Yuri in Detroit. His program is less technically demanding than Katsuki's, and scoring high will be a challenge, but he carries no burden of expectations or titles to defend. His career is just beginning. Then comes Yuri Plisetsky's turn. At the Rostelecom Cup, nerves and inexperience kept him from showing his full potential. But today he lands every jump and element flawlessly. Victor is absent from the stands at this moment. Meanwhile, Yuri Plisetsky breaks the world record once set by Viktor Nikiforov. Chris from Switzerland has never won a championship. His main rival, Victor, isn't competing this year. Chris skates brilliantly, though he makes a small mistake on his final jump. Even so, he overtakes Yuri Katsuki and moves into second place, just behind Plisetsky. For the skater from Kazakhstan, this is his first Grand Prix final. Plisetsky sincerely cheers for his new friend. In the end, the Kazakh athlete climbs to second place while Yuri Plisetsky remains the leader. The representative from Canada, a crowd favorite and the only skater who had delivered flawless performances in all previous stages, makes several mistakes today. The day before, he had proposed to his girlfriend and promised to win the Grand Prix gold for her, but he couldn't handle the mental pressure. The crowd tries to support him by singing along during his program, but even that can't help him regain his focus. He ends up with the worst result of his career. On the eve of the final performance, Yuri Katsuki thanks Viktor Nikiforov for his support. Thanks to him, Yuri gave his all this season. But now, Yuri asks to end all of this. He has decided to leave figure skating for good. Tears well up in Victor's eyes. He admits he never expected such selfishness from Yuri, and Yuri never expected Victor to cry at all. After all, Victor himself had said they would only be together until the Grand Prix final. In the end, they agree to return to this conversation after the competition is over. The day of the free skate at the Grand Prix final arrives. The first to take the ice is the representative from Canada. After the short program, he has fallen far behind in points and now lacks confidence, something that immediately shows in his performance. He realizes that his only chance to reach the podium is if other skaters falter. Much is expected today from the athlete representing Thailand. He is eager to please his compatriots, but stumbles early in his program. However, all of his subsequent jumps are executed perfectly. Next, it is Yuri Katsuki's turn. Victor urges him to believe in himself and give his all. He admits that he gave up his own career for Yuri, yet Yuri is still skating at only half his potential. After a long embrace, Yuri takes to the ice with renewed inspiration. He has spent half his life chasing after Victor. Yuri loves skating and wants to do it forever, but he understands that if Victor remains his coach, the rival in him will slowly die. His performance is flawless. Every jump, step, and spin executed without a single mistake. Tears well up in Yuri's eyes. In terms of total score, he breaks Viktor Nikiforov's world record in men's singles figure skating. Victor is happy as a coach. The Swiss skater realizes that surpassing Yuri's score will be extremely difficult. Right on the ice, he changes his program, adding the most difficult elements to the end in order to score the maximum points. After his performance, Yuri is already guaranteed a place on the podium. The representative from Kazakhstan is also determined to win a medal, but for now, he remains in third place. Meanwhile, Victor finds his former coach Yakov and shocks him with the news. He is returning to competitive figure skating. Before the final performance, Victor hugs Yuri Plisetsky. Plisetsky is confident that victory is already his. However, he stumbles early on but quickly gets back on his feet, then delivers a series of flawless jumps. In the end, Yuri Plisetsky narrowly surpasses Yuri Katsuki and becomes the champion. After the ceremony, Victor asks Yuri if he knows how to make his heart beat faster. Yuri asks him to remain his coach for one more year, and then he will definitely win gold. Victor returns to competition while continuing to coach Yuri Katsuki. Later, the two of them take the ice together, performing a duet at an ice show in St. Petersburg.